Do you like the idea of a dual mode gaming monitor, but you don't want to pay $1,000 or have to worry about burn-in? If so, then this monitor that Asus sent over, the XG27UCG-W, might just be a good fit. This is a 27-inch screen with two modes that let you switch between 4K 160Hz and 1080p 320Hz. Unlike other dual mode monitors that use OLED panels though, this is a traditional IPS. Both technologies have their own pros and cons. OLEDs have better contrast and response times, whereas IPS panels can get a lot brighter and have superior text rendering because of their traditional RGB subpixel layout. IPS screens are also not as prone to burn-in as OLEDs are. As far as traditional IPS screens go, this is a pretty good one. It gets up to like 400 nits of brightness and it has pretty good color accuracy. If you want to do color sensitive work on it, the sRGB mode is probably going to be the way to go, but if you're like most people buying this monitors and you want to play games and watch YouTube, then I would suggest turning up the brightness, contrast, and saturation a little bit, and this is going to give you an image that really pops. As you'd expect from this price class of monitor, the build quality feels pretty sturdy. It has full height, tilt, swivel, and pivot adjustments, and even though the build is mostly plastic, it feels really sturdy. The front side of the monitor has a silver ROG logo on the chin, and then a small Republic of Gamers badge on the base. The top of the stand has a tripod screw-sized hole, so with a cheap two-sided screw from Amazon, check the affiliate links in the description, you can easily mount a nicer camera up there to up your streaming game. I also really prefer this style of stand with the square base as opposed to the one that Asus uses with the protruding legs, because this lets you have a way cleaner desk setup. The W on the end of the model name of course stands for white, and I may be biased because of my setup, but I think that this white colorway of this monitor looks really good. All of the kind of mechanical looking lines on the rear side of the monitor and the RGB really pop on the white chassis, and I like the silver highlights around the base way more than the red ones on the black version. The XG27UCG-W also has a joystick and some physical buttons on the back around the right side, and you use those to control the OSD. The right side of the monitor also has a power indicator LED, which can be kind of bright, but luckily it can be disabled inside the OSD as well. Speaking of the OSD, the one on here is fairly robust and has a lot of adjustments and options, but a lot of them are going to be locked down if you put it in HDR mode. I don't really mess with backlight strobing, but it does have ELMB sync if that's your thing, and the monitor also has VRR, so there's G-Sync and FreeSync support. With my skill level in online games, I honestly don't use the faster modes on these dual mode monitors very much, but I did find that the 1080p mode on this was less blurry than on my 32-inch LG. I think that's really just because of the smaller size and denser pixels. I don't believe it uses integer scaling, but it should be serviceable for games. One caveat for this monitor compared to OLED dual mode monitors is overdrive. Now, because this has an IPS panel, there's an overdrive setting that affects the undershoot and overshoot of an image in motion, and that's going to affect the motion clarity. And you're really going to need to use different settings for the different modes to get the best picture. OLEDs have almost immediate response time, so you don't really have to worry about overshoot, but if it were me and I used the dual mode on this a lot, I would save my settings to the two different profiles in the OSD, and then when you switch modes, just switch to the profile with the overdrive settings that you want for that speed. If you switch it to 320Hz but don't turn up that overshoot, then you're going to be losing some of the motion clarity that you're trying to gain by moving up to 320Hz in the first place. Once you get it all dialed in though, the 320Hz mode is going to be the way to go for competitive games because you're going to get, more visual information and lower latency. This monitor can do HDR, but in my experience it's kind of hit or miss. It doesn't have local dimming or very high contrast, but it can get pretty bright, and so some sorts of content looks better on it in HDR mode than other stuff. There are a few different HDR modes that you can choose between inside the OSD, but no matter what you do, if you're going to run it in HDR mode, make sure to run the Windows 11 calibration tool and create a custom profile because it makes a huge difference in the image that's going to be displayed. Even if you just leave it in SDR mode like I do most of the time, it delivers an exceptional SDR picture for a traditional IPS screen. When gaming on it, the colors were rich and bright, and the response time was fast enough that I didn't notice it really getting blurry in motion. Gaming at 4K on a 27-inch screen makes your games look really crisp and clean. As far as inputs go, it has all that you need to game with, but other than that, it's kind of limited. You get one HDMI 2.1, one DisplayPort 1.4, one USB-C with DisplayPort but only 15 watts of power delivery, and a headphone jack. There's no USB-A ports, no KVM, and no built-in speakers. There is still a lot of reasons that people might want to go with an IPS over an OLED display. Maybe you have a lot of natural light in your space, so you need a bright screen. Maybe you do a lot of office work or video editing, so you want something that has really legible text with no fringing. Maybe you don't want to have to worry about burn-in. Or maybe you just want to save some money. The XG27UCG-W retails for an MSRP of about $469, but right now it's on sale on Amazon for $399. It's not one of the cheapest 4K gaming monitors on the market, but at that price, it's less than half of what one of the OLED dual mode monitors goes for. Whether you're doing office work or gaming or a mix of both, it handles different kinds of uses really well. If you like the aesthetics and you're in the market for a 27-inch 4K gaming monitor, it might be a good pickup. What do you think? Do you like the looks and the design, or is it a bit too much? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks to Asus for sponsoring this video and sending the monitor over, and thanks to you for watching along. Get subscribed so you don't miss any videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.